What was the most important lesson you learned during the pandemic?
Um, The most important lesson I learned from the pandemic, I've actually been reading the Bible, and I came across this verse in Romans 8:18. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. It says that no matter what you're going through right now, there will always be something greater for us to know, and that is God. That's something to keep in mind every day, whether you're going through something, being happy, something to keep in mind.
The most important lesson I learned from the pandemic was without God, I can't do anything. During the pandemic, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be happy or even make it through the pandemic.
The most important lesson I've learned during the pandemic is that we take things too easily for granted, especially God. And during the pandemic, when all these things we take for granted are suddenly taken away from us, it helps me realize just how important God is in our lives.
The most important lesson I learned during the pandemic was to be close with those that love you and those that you love, as well as being close with God. By doing those things, we were able to get through the pandemic and continue to strive on.
One important lesson I learned during the pandemic was the fact that personal relationship you have with God is very important. Just developing and growing with God, to really strive for that close relationship you have with God.
코로나 시기에서 이제 시작하고 나서 학교를 다니고 있었는데 근데 갑자기 자가격리가 시작되고 학교를 가지 못하니까 이제 온라인상으로 친구들이랑 같이 대화하고 그런 경우가 많았는데 근데 꼭 사람을 만나지 않아도 새로운 사람과 만나고 친해지고 그리고 좋은 인연을 만들 수 있다.
I learned that having faith in yourself is the most important thing, especially since we went through all the lockdown and being in isolation. Like if you can't be with yourself, then it's really hard to get things done. So yeah, I really learned to have like a lot of strength within myself and getting motivated to do stuff.
Well, there are lots of lessons that I've learned, but the most important, I believe, are two. One is that we need God more than ever. Worship is such an essential part of life that without it, a lot of the things just don't make sense or have no meaning. It's so important, but also the importance of just being together, our brothers and sisters in Christ, just being among fellowship with them. I think those two things are the most important things that I've learned and happen to be our name, magnifying, but also doing that together. Without that, I've learned that life is pretty meaningless.